Today we're going to show you how to connect the mono to our braid. Some of the tools we're going to use is the needle. It's a hollow needle, a sharp knife. This is a X-Acto knife, a bowstring server with spectral line in it, just a little piece of cord or string, a wooden dowel, some glue, and some Instaset. The first thing we're going to do is, this is our 200-pound mono, and we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to use a hollow needle for it, and we're going to insert the mono into the end of the hollow needle. This is 200-pound braid, and what you want to do is you want to make sure your braid is the appropriate size for your mono. So in this case here, we have 300-pound mono and 200-pound braid, so it'll fit fine. So we're going to cut the end nice and clean. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and insert the end of the mono into this portion here about 3 feet. So we go ahead and take this portion. And just go ahead and run the needle right through the hollow braid splice. If you happen to poke the needle through the braid, you can just go ahead, back it out, and just go ahead and continue. It doesn't hurt the braid at all. So we ran the line in here about 3 feet, and all we do is we go ahead and take the needle and we pull the line right through it, through the end of the braid. Now we got our braid inside, our mono inside the braid. If we grab the braided section here and the mono here and we pull on it, it's already tight. It's going to hold onto itself. But what happens is if we grab this portion here and pull it up, it's going to slide. So what we need to do is we need to put a little splice on the end. So to go ahead and make that splice, we'll go ahead and use the clamps here. It just makes it a little easier to hold it. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a little splice right here, about a 3-inch portion. And we're going to use the bowstring server. Okay. So we're going to pull a little portion out, maybe about, let's say about a foot or so. And this is 20-pound Spectra line. You can use rigging floss or dental floss, but the nice thing about Spectra is a nice thin material. Okay, so it keeps your knots nice and low profile. So the way we're going to go ahead and start is we're going to wrap the line onto the Spectra onto the line. We'll go ahead and make about a few turns here. And what we're doing here now is we're wrapping the line on top of this tag end. I'm holding this tag end in the same direction that we're wrapping the line onto. Okay, so wrap it a couple more times. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this tag end out of the way. I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I'm going to go ahead and keep on winding this here. Okay, so once I get it started, I can just go ahead and just keep on winding. And you're going to notice as you wind it on here, the line, the Spectra will turn a different color. It's normally a little lighter color in green, but as we wind it on here, it's turning a darker green. That's because we're putting a little bit of pressure on to make it winding on nice and tight. One other little trick that we do is when I'm winding this, I'm holding this side down a little lower, and this side a little higher. So as it's winding, gravity will go ahead and pull it down. Okay. Okay. As we're nearing the end, the braid is going to want to start to bunch up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand wind the rest of it. And the main part on this portion here is you just don't want the braid to bunch up, and it just kind of gets a little bit thicker. You want to keep it nice, low profile. Just hold the braid a little bit tighter with your, like I'm doing here with my left hand. Just keep on continue winding. Okay, as we near the end, what I'm going to do is we're going to wrap it all the way till we covered all of the braid. And then I'm going to wrap a couple more wraps of line on there just to hold everything secure for now. So right now we're at the end of the braid, so I'm going to wrap 2 more wraps on it. And then I'm going to pull this out about another, say about 16 inches or so. I'm going to take my sharp knife, cut the tag end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a small piece of line. In some videos they use maybe like a piece of wire or something else on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it on this portion here, and I'm just going to wrap the line, the spectra around the line and the loop of line also. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it about 12 times. Okay, that should be enough. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this tag end and insert it into the loop here. Okay. And from there, we're just going to pull the square loop of line. And what it did was it took that tag end and it ran underneath all the other line. Now, all we have to do is pull these lines tight, but because it's a spectrum material, if you yank on it, it's going to cut into your fingers. So we got a little wooden dowel here. And we just go ahead and wrap this on top. And we just go ahead and pull it tight. Okay. And what it did was, when we pulled it tight, the line changed color a little bit. It changed to a darker color. And that's just showing that the line is nice and snug. Get our knife, cut it off nice and clean. And we do the same for the other side. Okay. Clip that off. Okay, and that's our splice right there. Now, to lock everything in, we're going to use a little bit of crazy glue. And we're just going to drop a little bit of glue on each end. And what that's going to do is it's going to lock the tag ends that we pulled through. The glue is not going to be the one that's going to hold the line and the braid together. It's just holding that little splice that we did at the end. And to accelerate it, we're going to use just an instant set. And it'll dry up really quick for us. The splice is being held together by this portion here, where the mono is into the braid. It works on a principle of the Chinese finger cuff. The tighter you pull on it, the tighter it's going to grab. The splice is just so that the braid doesn't run back up. On the end here, all we're going to do is run the line back just a little bit, and then we're going to just go ahead and clip it right where the line exits. And we pull it back tight over. Everything is completely secured. So this is how we set up our mono to Blackwater hollow braid line.